fertility journey can often be very, very difficult and fragmented and costly. With us today on Empowering Talks is Torkia Mahloul, co-founder and CEO of Ovasave, someone who's hoping to transform all of this. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, the first thing we have to ask is obviously women in leadership, how they're reshaping industries, driving impact. But what do you think are the key things and the key mindsets, key enablers that really allow you to drive this change?
Until I started Ovasave, I was working in corporate jobs, and although I learned a lot there and I grew, I think the shift to entrepreneurship was really a liberating moment for me, where I was more focusing on impact and really achieving something for the greater good. In terms of mindset, I found personally that having conviction in what you do, in the product that you bringing to the market, in the problem you're solving for, is critical. It's a tough environment, it's very challenging, and you need to believe in what you're doing every day, because you'll get a lot of no's. And the other thing, when it comes to mindset, would be resilience. Every day has its own set of craziness and barriers, and you need to be able to navigate all of that and wake up for another day of fighting to achieve your mission. With regards to the enablers, what made a big difference in my entrepreneur journey is really the ecosystem, finding a supportive ecosystem, being backed by incredible investors who believed in what Ovasave is doing. And finally, I would say the amazing community of women who are doing their own thing and uplifting each other in those journeys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the role of women in leadership is definitely impacting the access to leadership roles for other women. And this is also a very personal project for you. This was inspired by your own fertility journey. How has this affected you? And I want you to touch on, these topics are often considered private in the region. They're not something that's really talked about. So how did you normalize these conversations?
It was not easy, because if I have to be honest, for the longest time, I didn't even come forward and share my personal journey. My mom was all against it. She's like, "You've done egg freezing, keep it to yourself." And I would only discuss it behind closed doors. And having these conversations with women that I felt were helped by my journey, by my stories, like, was an eye-opener. If I come public and I show vulnerability and I share also the pain and the challenges I went through, I would touch more women and I will inspire more women to do the same. And for me, that was a defining moment, going from this is my personal life and this is a private topic, to look at what the impact it has on people's lives. And it was not easy at start, but I felt there were many other women putting themselves out there and helping me as well. So it was kind of a duty to do that. You cannot change and transform the fertility journey without having those difficult conversations, starting with my conversation and with my personal story.
Okay. Now, there's a lot that is, at stake when we talk about fertility. There is funding, there is policies, there is the social attitude, which you already discussed. How do you think we can really turn these challenges into scalable innovations, into real health and wellness action?
It is true, when I started in this space, in this industry, I felt that policies, funding, the social conversations were lagging behind compared to other markets. When you talk to investors about solving those women's problem, they don't understand the space. So it's difficult to put money into something that you don't really, or you don't fully grasp. So I think it's critical that we continue pitching, we continue using data, using POCs to drive these conversations. First, we got so many no's. And then when we launched the MVP and we demonstrated traction, we drove interest into that space. And when it comes to funding, this is very important to educate investors, VCs, about the problem and the of the problem we're solving for and the scale that it has. With regards to policies, you cannot transform women's health without working with existing ecosystem. You have to create synergies, partnerships, work with regulators in implementing those digital solutions and scaling them. So policies makers are part of this conversation. And finally, social conversations. You said it, it's a private and personal topic. The way we're changing this is by bringing it into the public space. We led the largest fertility awareness campaign last year in the region. We had the big Ovasave bus driving and parking in work locations and screening women for free, to say out loud that the fertility conversation is private in nature, but women should be comfortable discussing it in their workplace if they want to, asking for support, whether financial support or mental health support when they're navigating those difficult journeys.
Absolutely. I love this. I love that you're letting women take ownership of their own health and fertility journey. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. It has definitely been an empowering talk.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.